Another tree that's really a keystone of the North Quabbin Forest, besides the white pine and the hemlock, is red oak. And red oak is a wonderful tree. It's such a emblem of strength, and it's a beautiful tree as well. It does have some issues when it comes to equines. Not so much the green mature leaves, although my horse likes to eat them. But when the leaves are just coming out, you know, when the tree is budding in early spring and the buds are swelling and the leaves are just starting to pop, that's when they tend to be quite toxic. And the other part of the tree, of course, is the acorns, And excuse me, the acorns tend to be quite toxic when they're green. So when they're on the ground, and usually when you see acorns, you see a lot of acorns, a bunch of them. Whoop. We'll get to him in a minute. You hear him? Okay, wait a minute. Those can be problematic. My mare, she loves acorns. She just loves to crunch around in the pile of acorns, and I let her get a few and then I take her away. So it is a palatable tree. Horses, I think, seem to like it, but it is a toxic tree. It's a common tree. So that's another one that you want to keep in mind besides your red maple and your mountain laurel and your sheep laurel and your bracken fern. So well, we've got five plants so far. And we literally have walked, what, how many yards? I'm not good at distances, but barely taken a walk at all. So you can see that these plants are really very common and typical of this area. So we're going to walk a little bit now and see what else we can find. I'll see if I can find a better specimen of the red maple for you and the red oak. Oh, and by the way, excuse me, you know, talking about leaf morphology, and Jeff was mentioning there's red oaks and white oaks. And when you look at a red oak, they can be really variable in their shapes, but they do have what we call lobes or fingers, kind of like your own fingers. And on a red oak, the fingers are pointy, and every tip of every lobe has a bristle. So that's a pretty characteristic trait of red oak. They have a bristle, their lobes are pointy. Whereas with white oak, the lobes are very round, there's no bristle. They really remind you of your fingertip. And we do have white oak around here, not in this particular spot, but it's much less common than the red oak. And I want to also go back to the red maple, and you can just bear with me here. I did forget to mention, you know, I said you have to think about Canada's flag. We say that these are lobes too. The red maple has 3 main lobes. These lobes down here are very kind of reduced. So they say that red maple really has 3 main lobes. With your sugar maples and some other maples, they tend to have these bottom lobes much more developed. But that's your typical red maple, and this is your typical red oak.